Hello and welcome to another installment of Slammin Synapses right here on Facebook and YouTube. This segment will be submitted for possible inclusion on pwinsiderextra.com, sister site to pwinsider.com and pwinsiderelite.com. Elite's definitely a great site, a lot of great audio, lots of great video. Check it out, it's worth every penny, you won't be disappointed. If you're viewing me through YouTube, there's going to be a subscribe button up here. Click on that, keep up to date with my latest installments. If you're viewing me through a phone, I have the iPhone 4 myself that I view YouTube for. There's a more video section after you view this segment. Tap on that, scroll down to the bottom, tap on subscribe to Agurier, keep up to date that way. However you're joining me, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to have you here. So here goes. My last segment ran for about 24 minutes. I'm going to try to keep further segments within the 10 to 12 minute mark. Keep it snack size. If I saw something that was 24 minutes, it better be worth it. And I'm not going to say mine's aren't worth it, but you know what I mean. So we're going to try to keep them a little bit lower than we did the last time. So without any further ado, let's go. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago I talked about the Yokozuna Memorial that's coming up in October. I have some more information for you. It's going to be held October 1st in Chester, Pennsylvania at Harrah's Casino. It's going to be on 777 Harrah's. It's definitely a good cause. It's the Yokozuna Memorial, gone but not forgotten, 10 years in the making, to honor the memory of Yokozuna. Put on by a great group, the guys at WXWC4.com. That's their website, but Federation is WXWC4. From the fragments I've seen, they definitely do a good job. It's put together very well. Like I said, with a Samoan family, and they do have a Samoan lineup for the most part. They do have others, but it's primarily a Samoan-based thing. Like I said, with Samoans, their family, once you're in, you're in. I appreciate that. So it's the Yokozuna Memorial. It's October 1st at Chester, Pennsylvania, 777 Harrah's. For more information, check out their website, WXWC4.com. I won't be there, but I can only hope to pick up a DVD of the event later. So now that that's out the way, let's get into the main topic of what I'm going to be discussing. This is going to be regarding the aftermath of the C.M.Punk promo, which ended Raw last week. And after watching Raw this week, it took the creative team about 2 or 3 hours to take all the steam out of that promo from the week before. I mean, here you took CM Punk, gave him bullet points. He didn't overscript him. He didn't seem forced. Came out there, spoke naturally, spoke from the heart. And I said to myself, hey, Money in the Bank, I'm going to go see it. I have to. It's going to build up to this great match, or hopefully a great match between Punk and Cena. It's like, wow, I want to see this. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, if they did any Superstars taping, completely took the steam out by having Cena come out saying, you suspended him because he spoke his mind, and you should reinstate him, otherwise you could take this title and you could go. And then Vince McMahon goes out. It's like, I'm afraid he's going to take the belt and go bye-bye with it, and blah, 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 and they just keep going back and forth. You suspended him because he spoke his mind, yada, 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 and I won't fight him, whatever. I want Punk in Money in the Bank. And I know Cena doesn't talk this way, but the segment sounded forced. It sounded scripted. It sounded like, okay, these are your words, make sure you say everything right and enunciate just well, and try to get this over. And the whole segment came off as blathering, which is typically what overscripted segments, or segments in which people seem forced, have that effect. It seems like they're just blathering. So yeah, it took a lot of the steam out of that promo. And also the thing that really got my attention was, at the end of it, Vince McMahon is saying, if you lose this match, you're fired. Where have we heard that one before? What was that, like 4 to 6 months ago with the Nexus, where they pretty much said, if you don't do this, you're fired? And he didn't do it and got fired, but he came back every week afterwards. I mean, we just ran this "you're going to be fired" John Cena angle. but this time it's McMahon instead of Wade Barrett. And in wrestling, no one ever gets fired. If you get fired, in real life, you just get fired. It's no storyline. You just get laid off. You either get wished well in your future endeavors, or you don't get mentioned at all. But the fact that they're trying to run this you're fired angle no more than like 4 to 6 months after the Nexus thing, like I said, no one ever gets fired. I dare you, if you've ever gotten laid off from a job, go into work the next day. Try to do your job the way you did. Go in 2 days later, go in 3 days later, go in 4 days later. Go in there and try to do an 8-hour shift after you just got fired and see if they let you do it. See if they even let you in the building. And even if you do get in the building, in this case, if you jump the rail, if I were to jump over the rail, I'd be carted out security, probably arrested, thrown in jail for a bit. If I try to do anything else, like I said, that's a possibility. But yeah, if you've been fired, go back to your job, do an 8-hour shift, see if they let you. See if they let you. I dare you. Doubtful they let you do it. Why? Because you're fired. And if you show up, they might call police and take you out. So yeah, there is no such thing as firing storylines in wrestling that's actually believable anymore, because they kind of overdo it, or in this case, redo it like they did 6 months ago. 6 months, a year, or whatever, how long ago it was. But yeah, you just ran this angle. Different people, but same basic storyline around it. So yeah, you took C.M. Punk with this big, heartfelt promo and killed it in 2 to 3 hours. Granted, it was a week TV-wise, but still, killed it. 2 to 3 hours. They just don't know it's like, basically we need competition for WWE again, so they could say, hey, we gotta do things that make sense, because sometimes the things they do don't make sense. And granted, it's like they're not immune from whatever I'm saying, because if you remember my Are You Ribbing Me TNA segment, which has got to be the most views, and I appreciate them very much. If you do want to check out the archives, go back and check it out if you haven't done so, and you'll see what I mean there. It's like, wrestling is part creative, and if you're not creative, what's the point? If you don't know how to be creative, what's the point? I mean, granted, wrestling is wrestling. Like I said last week, wrestling is basically two guys in a ring, selling differences, getting things done. But if you're in a business where you have to put something behind that, if there's nothing strong behind it, or you're going back to the well already, instead of like possibly like brushing something off that was done like 10 years ago and say, hey, didn't they do that? Instead of doing it where, okay, we just did this 6 months ago. I don't know. But yeah, they need to have something there which says, hey, we want to be successful, we want this match to go off, so instead of over scripting, we're going to do like we did with CM Punk. Okay, bullet points, this is what we're going to do. Go out there with a microphone, do what you can. That's why CM Punk was successful. That's why people like The Rock was successful. That's where a lot of your more well-known promos came off as being the best, because they were just given like a brief skeleton and they put the meat on it. So, like I said, there's still a couple of weeks left. Hopefully they can turn this around and make it worth it. What else? Was going to go into something, but may use that next week or a week afterwards. We'll go over it now. We're gonna try to do this in a short amount of time. But if there's any one match, if you were to ask me that I remember more than anything else, what my one favorite match of all time is, the answer may surprise you. As much as I like the Warrior, it's not Warrior versus Hogan. And as much as I liked Ricky Steamboat, it's not Ricky Steamboat versus the Macho Man. To me, the best match that I've ever seen in my entire existence was for the NWA, I believe it was the National Heavyweight Championship, as Ron Garvin took on Tully Blanchard. Why of all matches that one? Because it was something that on Worldwide they gave an entire program to. They focused on it. That was what they put on for you to see. That backdrops, that storylines. It was the main focus, and it felt that way. The production made it feel that way. The commentators made that match important because they promoted in such a way where the focus was on the action in the ring. They didn't start talking about this silly stuff that they do now. They didn't focus on something that was not part of the match. Like, okay, we're going to do some stupid coal miner or whatever, or we're going to start talking about, pick stupid thing to insert here. No, they focused on the match. Like it was Ron Garvin, Tully Blanchard, head to head, face to face, toe to toe for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. And if it was for a different title, please correct me. But basically it wound up, Ronnie Garvin, storyline, hurt his hand, hands of stone, couldn't use it. Tully Blanchard banned him from doing something to the hand that would help it out. Ronnie Garvin had to fight with a wounded hand. Tully Blanchard, of course, had J.J. Dillon on the outside. Got to a point where Dusty Rhodes came out, put tape on Ronnie Garvin's hand. Ronnie Garvin got up, hit Tully Blanchard with the hands of stone, covering him for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Ronnie Garvin announced as the new champion. But was he? No, because Dusty Rhodes had this was known as the Dusty finish. If you're not familiar with that, it's a finish where something happens and the decision gets reversed due to some funky thing. But in this case, Ronnie Garvin was disqualified for having his hand taped up, and Tully Blanchard regained was the champion. But yeah, the beauty of that match is that that's what the whole thing was focused on. It was focused on the match, it was focused on the drama. The commentators kept focused on what was going on in the ring, didn't do any funny stuff on the side, and that's the way I think wrestling should be. Your commentators should be focused on what's going on. As a matter of fact, here's what I want you to do. When you're done with this, go through your DVD collection, go through your VHS tape collection. Pick out a couple of federations. Throw it in. Close your eyes for about a minute or two and see if you can determine what's going on in the match. Just close your eyes, put a blindfold on, and just listen. Listen to the commentator. Listen to what they're saying. How much do you feel is going on in the ring that is conveyed to you? I mean, can you sense the action? Can you sense what's going on? Can you put in your head the images, the illusions? To me, you would hear the old style commentators talk about, okay, he's got him in the body slam, he's got him in the headlock, he's got him in the he body slammed him. But at the same time, they're providing insight the way they do on baseball when they're waiting for things to happen. It's like, okay, this man did this back in his minor league career. He batted this much, whatever. He comes from this city where they're known for this. There was filler, but for the most part, the focus is on the game itself. He cracks the ball. It's long gone. It's a home run. Or in this case, oh, he's got him on the top rope. He goes off with a suplex. He hits it. He covers him for the pin. Do you have that? No. Not really. Not often. I mean, I'm just going off of it. I'm just going off of TNA and WWE. I wish I could see like Ring of Honor Wish I could see most of the federations that they have out there, just to see what they do television-wise. So granted, I may be talking out of not having knowledge, but basically, if you look at WWE, how much do they focus on the match? How much do they focus on what's going on? How much do they want to make you watch the match that's going on? Not often. And yeah, the old days, Ronnie Garvin versus Tully Blanchard made me want to watch. Made me want to sit there for the whole show. That's going to be a topic of another show, talking about NWA Worldwide Wrestling. We may go into that in a couple of weeks. As you may see we're going to wrap this puppy up. We're going to talk about that, which you've probably been looking at. If you want to drop me a line, feel free to drop me a comment. You could put it at the bottom, or if you're viewing me through Facebook, you could do it that way. Drop me a line at 8guerrier@yahoo.com. More than happy to read them. May read it on the show. So, but yeah, what is this about? We're going to talk about this on the next show. And it's not primarily about the United States Heavyweight Championship, but it is going to be about championships like this. So, join us next week. Wow, about what that's about. I was to look at the camera instead of looking down. But yeah, next week we're going to discuss this. So for Albert Guerrier, this is Slammin Synapses saying so long from ringside. Peace. We're out of here. Have a good night, everybody.